Welcome to part 2. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Well, Chris Eubank's old man, he's bounced up, hasn't he? What on earth is he on? Hey, let's ask Kent about it. Ken, let's jump to the other side of the street. Chris Eubank's dad's piped up. Have you seen it? You there, Kent?
Yeah.
Chris Eubank,
Loved it.
what did you think they say? He loves it. He's Sheriff bad. What do you make of that, Ken?
I love it. I think it's brilliant. I'm going to get slaughtered for this, but I actually think boxing needs more characters like Senior that actually tells it like it is. And when he says it like it is, everybody's piping up, oh, he shouldn't be saying this, he shouldn't be saying that, and he's not well, and he's lost his son. The man's an opinion, and if he wants to voice his opinion, that it's up to him, isn't it, really?
Where do you see Eubank going now? Eubank here with this Ben thing, Ken.
I don't see it going anywhere because I actually said to you at the weekend that the whole Saudi thing over there, it looks like Frank Warren and Queensbury are in partnership with the guys, the main guys in Saudi, and they have a say of kind of the demographics over there. So I don't think Ali's going to be able to swan over there and set up a card without Demons actually having the. I don't think they're going to be able just to go over there and set up shop and do what they want, because these guys, obviously, you know, who Frank was with at the weekend, they're actually in charge of that whole demographic. So I can't see that happening over there. And even if it did, the British Boxing Board of Control have the auspices over there to that, and they will be governing it. So I can't see that happening either.
What do you think to Eddie just putting one pay-per-view on in America this all year, Devon, ain't it, and none in UK? Is that a sign? Is that a sign at times for Eddie now that he's under cosh?
Yes, Russell. I'm going to ask you a question. What pay-per-view fighters has Eddie Hearn got?
Ain't got any now, has he?
No. You know, AJ can't sell an arena out. He doesn't sell pay-per-views.
He needs an opponent, AJ. He only needs a name.
They need either. I don't think Zhang brings that market in the UK. I think he brings the Asian market, but the casuals won't buy it because they don't really know who he is. I think it either needs to be, there's three fighters. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, who in my opinion beat Tyson Fury.
Or Wilder.
Or Wilder. That's it. Nobody else falls into that bracket of no, and Eddie knows that. Nobody else outside of them three sells an arena, never mind a football stadium or a pay-per-view. It has to go that way.
And all three of them beat AJ, don't they?
All of them. I even think Francis.
Yeah. He'd throw down with him, wouldn't he?
Francis, you look at Tyson caught him several times and even caught him an elbow, and it didn't even flinch on him. It didn't even register with him. And you know, this is a guy that's being kicked around the head with shin kicks but head elbows. His chin is like absolute granite.
Tell me about it, man. Look at his bone structure, man. He's like a tree trunk, isn't he?
He's a solid guy. He's Joe Joyce Mark II, so he is.
Do you think that the next matchup for Joshua is going to be the most important fight of his career?
It's a massive gamble, and I don't think Eddie actually trusts AJ at the minute, especially after those last two performances. The Helenius fight, at times he was getting outboxed and outjobbed. He was sleepwalking in that fight. And the Franklin fight, he was terrible in that fight, actually. He was dreadful. Now, It looks like he's going to go and train with Ben Davison now. That looks like that's inevitable. That whole thing over with Derek James in America looks like it's gone and dead in the water.
I thought they'd gone over there to train in Texas now.
Have they?
Yeah, I heard they snuck out over there a couple of days ago.
See, to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter who AJ trains with the minute. It's actually not the trainer. It's AJ himself. But I think going forward, I think the next fight is massive. I think Wilder, what is actually going on with Wilder's career at the minute? Nothing. He needs to be. He's just looks like he's just sitting back and waiting for Saudi money. That's what he looks like.
Don't be surprised, Ken, if he goes out there with Derek James and he changes his mind, because he'll have had Ben Davidson in his ear last few weeks, won't he?
Don't do this. Don't do that. This is what I think. This is what that. And you're training with different trainers all the time that have different styles. You know, different balance, different footwork, different shot selection, different mindset, different personalities, different emotionally. All that there factored in together. For me, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it don't, mate. It don't.
It's like a football team having 10 managers, and you setting up to play 4-4-2, but the other manager wants you to play 5-3-2, or play a diamond, or play wing backs, or play this, and before you know it, you've no. It's like Man United at the minute; they have no identity. The club has no identity, and I think AJ's got that at the minute, where he doesn't have that identity anymore that he had.
What do you think, Kent? Media getting banned by Furies?
I think it was stupid. I think the negative publicity that TalkSport were bringing were actually adding to the value of the event. They were adding to it. You know, it you know, the publicity, what they were saying was about the card itself and about the fight. It actually adds views and actually adds value to the event. And by Demons banning Demons, by TalkSport getting banned, it just makes Demons even more credible, in my opinion. It completely backfired on them.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, wasn't it?
So basically, Team Fury is saying everything you're saying is right, so we're not going to let you come. That's what it sounded like.
It's strange how they're dealing with media, isn't it?
It's not strange. You expect it, because it's all about access, Russell. TalkSport don't really need access. TalkSport don't need access of fighters to get views. They put an opinion out, they talk about it, and they've got a massive following. So it's not like they're hanging out of the back of everyone to get an interview backstage. That's not what TalkSport's about.
Yeah. Canelo, Kent, what next for him?
Well, I can see him running 1,000,000 miles away from Bivol. I can't see that fight ever happening, especially now that he's over there with PBC. He's cleaning up. You know, obviously the Charlo fight was easy. It was just probably one of the easiest fights that at that level, at that standard, that I've seen in a long time. It just looked like Charlo had just quit before he even got in the ring. He didn't actually look like he wanted to be there. The Benavidez fight is something that looks probably the most likely, but I don't know if he wants to fight a fellow Mexican. You know, I don't think that Canelo would actually want to go and lose to a fellow Mexican. I don't think he could take it. I don't think that's why that fight doesn't happen, because it's a massive risk, especially to his Mexican following.
Yeah. Where do you see John Ryder now?
who cares? You know, what is there for him to do? What is there? I don't mean that he's not really on the platform to be relevant. When was the last time you heard of anyone talking about him since the Canelo fight? When?
What about Callum Smith?
Callum Smith, I just want to see him fight Bivol next. You know, that fight, with the way Callum Smith boxes at the minute and with being in camps, that fight could be over a year away. So it could. So waiting around for Callum Smith is like waiting around for a bus that's not going to come.
Top start, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just waiting for a cash out, so he is.
What do you think to Paul Smith, aka son of Buddy, putting himself about trying to get Darren Till a fight?
I think Darren Till lost basically everybody he fought at championship level in MMA. I thought he was never the same after the Tyrone Woodley fight. He went into that fight a slight favourite. Everybody was talking about it. It was only a formality, and he got absolutely schooled by Tyrone Woodley. I actually think it was the last fight that Tyrone won in the UFC before he went on a massive losing streak and basically becoming a jobber. And then he went and had that Logan or Jake Paul fight. So I can't see Darren Till doing anything in boxing, Russell. I can't see it. Not unless he goes down the route of YouTube fights and exhibitions, but I can't actually see him having any making any moves in boxing. Can't see it at all.
Can't you?
Nah, no way.
Do you see Paul Smith doing out as a manager advisor?
Well, I don't see why not, because he knows a lot about boxing and he's been around it his whole life with his brothers. You know, he's had a lot of opportunities. You know, he had, a fight against Andre Ward. He's had multiple world title fights. How he got those, I've no idea. I think Joe done a great job with him, guiding him all those years. I don't actually see why he would make it as a trainer or a manager or advisor in some capacity, because he's been around it a long time.
Yeah. What do you see Beefy doing next? Do you think that might be it for him, Beefy? He's gone quiet, hasn't he?
It depends. I can't see him coming back after that. He was WBO mandatory at one stage last year, and he went and fought Chris Eubank Jr. The Yanabak fight, I think Yanabak is probably the best middleweight in the world. I think he beats everybody, including Eubank Jr. I don't know what he does. I can't see anybody wanting to see Eubank and Smith 3, because the second fight was so emphatic. He's made a lot of money, Russell. Let's be fair. He's made a lot of money out of boxing. So if he rides on in the sunset with a big paycheck, fair play to him. But I can't. What is irrelevant for him to come back for?
Yeah. What about Billy Joe's comeback on Eubank Ben undercard?
I can't see Eubank Ben undercard. When's this?
Billy said that on TalkSport over there. He said he's coming back on Eubank Ben undercard.
Firstly, Conor Ben wants to get a license first. Well, when Conor Ben gets a license first, we can start talking about that. But at the minute, he's no license.
Yeah. How do you see that fight going if he fights Eubank, Kent?
I would actually love to see Eubank smash him to pieces.
Kent, you're getting violent.
I'm just being honest. And Nigel will be back on his glass of wine a day.
Yeah, you've gone off at Ben's, haven't you, Kent?
I can't stand him. I just honestly, I can't stand him, to be honest with you, Russell, to be honest.
Do you think people lose all their minds around a few quid, Kent?
Yeah.
What do you see happening with Ben Shalom then? Because it looks to me like he's been left with all shit, doesn't he? A Coley and Boazzi and all the rest of it that he's got piled up there. What do you think? It's like cow dog, isn't it? Utter cow dog.
He's a scrapyard. He's got the scrapyard. He's basically got a scrapyard, and with exception of Natasha Jonas, with exception of Adam Azim. You know, who next? Campbell Hatton?
Campbell, hands of power. What do you see him doing next, Kent?
Get a job.
Do you think Eddie's got to match him with somebody now?
Eddie's sick of this. I know he is. I know how Eddie thinks business-wise. I think he's saying that he's 15-0 now. He hasn't improved. He lost that last fight convincingly. I've never seen it was an absolute robbery. I've never seen a referee disqualify a fighter in the last round of a bout with about 30 seconds to go. That was disgraceful.
They were guaranteeing the win, weren't they?
I thought he was comprehensively outboxed in that fight. You know, you look at about holding and blatant holding. I think it was just the way the two fighters fought. It was a southpaw against an orthodox fighter. They always come together. They're always going to tie up like that. And I think they robbed that poor guy, and I think it was a disgrace. I think Eddie's turned around saying now, this guy's going to be 350-0 at this rate against this opposition, and he's going to be no better. It's going to get to a stage where Eddie's just going to throw him in there, and that's going to be it over. And that's it. That's what Eddie's going to do next, because he's not even on the main DAZN cards anymore. If you haven't noticed, he's on free to air DAZN cards. Yeah. So what does that tell you? He doesn't sell a ticket either. He's no real following. He's only there because of his dad, and he can't fight. It's simple as that.
You think he'll get it, Kent?
Well, I hope he doesn't. I don't want to see any fighter get. I don't want to see any fighter get hurt, so I don't. I just think he needs to be matched and protected to the point of where he is now. I don't see him in championship class anytime soon.
Don't you?
No.
Well, what's he doing it for then, Ken?
I don't know, Russell. I think everyone has their own path in life. Everyone goes on their own path in life, and I think boxing's a hard sport. You know, yes, he had a lot of fights as an amateur, but his father was an elite amateur. He represented England. He was ready to turn pro. He had that base behind him of international fights, amateur fights, lots of sparring. So he was pre-made to be a pro, his father. But at the minute, Campbell doesn't have that. And when you're learning on the job, it's a saying that is used so much now. It's a widespread word that's used now in boxing. It means you have to have a good manager and a good promoter and people looking out for you. And it gets to the point where I don't think he's ever going to be really ready to step up. And that's being fair.
Yeah, it looks to me like they're just going to milk it, aren't they, with him?
We'll come back to Ben Shalom. You know, Ben Shalom has been played like a fiddle by Eddie. You know, they signed Joshua Buatsi. Joshua Buatsi doesn't sell tickets and doesn't bring numbers. So why would you pay that amount of money per fight? But Joshua Buatsi's guaranteed on Sky. It doesn't make sense. You know, Buatsi and Okoli are probably two of the worst managed fighters in boxing. I actually agree with Eddie on that. I think the two of them have been taking awful advice, and it's basically could have cost them their boxing careers.
Yeah, Buatsi's like, no, you wouldn't know him if you walked down the street, Kent, would you?
No, and anything he was built on, he was built on Sky at that time. He was hot property at that time. He was hot property when AJ was at his best. He was with AJ at that time, his promotional company. They were making documentaries on Sky about him. He was getting a lot of views and eyeballs and numbers, but it phased away. It actually phased out, and I think the money he turned down against Bivol was insane.
Yeah.
You know, for him to turn around and say, well, why would I take a rematch clause? Well, firstly, what happens is when your voluntary defense, say you're a champion and you're giving somebody a voluntary defense, you're going to say, right, I'm giving you this opportunity from nothing, but if you beat me, I want a rematch clause. That's just basic business. I'm not a boxing manager, and I know that. And he would have went into that rematch as champion, and he probably would have been earning 30% more than he did as a contender. And those two fights alone would have been life-changing money. And now to the point where can't sell out to your call.
Do you think Daniel Dubois is going to be the forgotten man?
I think Frank's lost faith in him, Russell.
Yeah.
I think Frank has got to the stage now where he is invested in him. I don't think he's invested smartly in building him. He's built him in a smart way on paper, but in a way that he needed it. He just didn't get that. He didn't get that schooling. He didn't get those contenders or those fights on the way up that was gonna improve him. Where he just had he just was smashing through everybody, and then he moved up. He fought Joyce. You know, we you know what happened in that fight. You know what happened in the last fight. I think he actually needs to go and prove himself. And yeah. I think Frank will test him next. I think Frank will put him in a fight that he actually needs to test him, and he'll test him again after that before he invests in him again.
What did you think to Isaac Chamberlain?
A great performance.
Yeah.
A fantastic performance. He basically boxed with one hand all night, and it was a great performance from Isaac. I like Isaac. And I'd like to see him get another world title fight. I think as a person, he's a really he's an influential type of guy locally where he's from. He's a great role model. I think he's I really like him. I hope he gets another opportunity to fight for a world title.
Yeah.
And makes a bit of money. Yeah, why not?
Would you like to see him in with Coley again?
No, that's not a fight that. And to be quite honest with you, Russell, this sounds dreadful, but I don't want to watch a Coley.
Don't you?
No, definitely not.
Do you think nobody wants to touch him?
Nobody wants to watch him now. You know, his style is dreadful. You know, Eddie built him from day one. He had him on the AJ undercards. He was with AJ's promotional outfit. He was giving him a lot of viewership. He was talking about him a lot. You know, Eddie stuck by him off those bad performances and get him the British come off European and world. And he left him. And his careers went down the pan. He actually left Shane as well, who Shane actually improved him. You know, he actually improved him and improved kind of what he was good at and nullified what he was bad at. And that's a good trainer. And I don't think from his left Shane already, he at last fight against Chris Bellew was dreadful.
Yeah, didn't you like it, that last fight?
Terrible fight. Awful.
Where do you see him going, Bellew Smith?
I think he's a guy there that I think he could go Bridgerweight next. I think he could go for a Bridgerweight title next. That's what I'm guessing. I don't think there's the money in. Obviously, if he doesn't get a unification fight at cruiserweight, I don't think he's big enough to go light heavyweight. I see him possibly going Bridgerweight and then possibly stepping up to heavyweight at the end of his career. But the cruiserweight division isn't great at the minute. You know, Bellew Jack is the WBC champion. Maybe they could go down that road, but outside of that, I don't think there's any real interest. You know, it seems to be that all the British cruiserweight fighters at the minute have went quiet and they're not really been talked about. So I think as soon as he gets out of the cruiserweight division, the better. I think a Coley should have went out of the cruiserweight division 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And fought Dillian White. Yeah.
What do you think to O'Hara Davis coming out hammering Tony Bellew?
You know, them two have got that relationship. You know, they don't like each other. There was the whole thing that went on there with Matchroom. I think Tony's got a lot of it.
Bellew instigated it all.
Man, that's such a big call, like, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it?
Right, that's what he's saying. He says he'll throw down with him. The right way.
Well,
intense beef there. O'Hara Davis on IFL and Tony Bellew saying it how it is. Go and watch it, guys. Pop, pop, bang.
There's no love lost there, is there, Russell?
He's saying that Tony Bellew caused it all, whipping up a storm.
It was
team O'Hara on that one.
I think he's done very, very well in his career from that. You know, he's worked his way up. He
said he can't let it go, that from 6 years ago, you know. He said he just can't let it go because they were innocent.
You can see it in him. You can see that it's eating away at him. You could see those interviews with Eddie Hearn he had that's been eating away at him. So it has. But he's had a good career, you know, from that. You know, he's built himself back into the point where now, you know, he's in world title contention. You know, that Rolly Romero fight obviously didn't happen, but he's done really, really well in his career to get back in without basically a major promotional outfit behind him. Now he's with Golden Boy. That's massive for him in America. Massive.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Do you see O'Hara winning the belt?
I don't see why not. The way boxing is at the minute, there's so many belts out there. I don't see why not, Russell.
He's done well with Bricktop, hasn't he?
Oscar has a great way of building fighters, and you know, he built Canelo.
Bricktop did well for O'Hara, wasn't he, before he went to Oscar?
Yes. Obviously, he was with MTK as well at the time, who were promoting him on them Friday night shows. They were actually really good. They were actually really good fight nights. You know, he came out after the Vasquez fight and says he didn't win it. He was very honest, which I applaud. So he's done well to get his career back on track.
Yeah, he has. Right then, Ken. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
You're welcome, Russell.
You've been a great tonic to the channel, the commission. Pop, pop, bang.
Peace out.
Thanks for peace out, Ken. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Booyaka.